GT the Vibe Podcast coming at you another episode. It is election season, guys, and so we're going to talk a little about the election and kind of we're going to look at it from a Christian perspective. I will go through some Bible verses. Consider this kind of a Bible study, if you if you may. Giving us the opportunity kind of to plug in some of our beliefs as Christians into the context and the confines of what's going on in the political realm today. Um, I will start this off by saying um, it is huge for us to understand as Christians. Number one, that our kingdom is the Lord's kingdom first, and the then obviously the United States if you're an American, right? And you should be proud of being an American. I don't think that as a Christian, it's like, oh, we can't be proud of being an American. We can't be proud of the country we live in. God placed us here for a reason, and so I think that we need to make sure that we um, put ourselves in position to understand that it is our second kingdom, but it is still a place that we need to be proud of. But I think number one, it is going to be God's kingdom first. So when you go into politics, one thing that I think Christians need to understand, one thing I think that we need to do, um, and let me preface this real quick before we get deep into it. I am not telling you guys who to vote for. I will not tell you guys who to vote for. I will talk about um, what people stand on and what Christians stand on. Okay. If you take it as me telling you who to vote for, then you need to vote for me for president. GT for president 2024. But that's not what we're doing here today. Today, we're going to kind of go biblical and then we're going to talk about some Christian values. And we're going to look at how parties align to Christian values. I think people get in the mindset of liking a person more than they care about what that person represents, right? If you liked Hitler, right? Does that mean that you condone what he did? Some people like him because they said he was confident, he was courageous, he obviously had a plan, he was smart, intelligent enough to get people to follow him. So I mean, there are some things that people would say they liked about Hitler, but what he stood for is different, right? Now you can dislike Hitler and what he stands for. You can like him. I mean, you could go vice versa. You can go either way. But understand that when you talk about it, what he stands for are the things that he did, the things that he condoned, the things that he did. That's what a man stands for. And so you have to understand that when we're talking about how things move, right? And so with that understanding in mind, we have to take into account that sometimes a person may not be per se likable. I may not like either candidate, but I have to look at what that candidate's party stands for. And I think that's more important than likes. I think people get so into the likes, and I mean, and that's a feminine viewpoint. When you look at women, women are big on relationships, so they will give up rules for relationships. Men are big on rules, we will give up relationships for rules. Like that's just how we were created, that's how we are, that's our nature. And so understanding what our nature is, we have to operate in a sense to be able to understand our weaknesses. As a man, our weakness is relationships, so we have to be better at that. As a woman, your strength is relationships, right? So you can focus on other things. So that's what you're naturally good at. And so as we kind of dive into this, one thing I will say is this: we will get the leader that we deserve as a country. When you look at the things that we've done, when you look at the things that we're doing, the things that are going on inside America today, from a Christian standpoint, let's go biblical. You know, we now have a movement of taking the genitals of people, men, young boys, and taking them off so that way they could become women, right? So the belief that there is more than just two genders, that's one thing that's happening inside the culture of the United States of America as we speak about it today. Is that there's more than the two genders that God created. So now there's the other, there's the whatever I want to be gender. That's gender number three. So now we are contending with that. Our kids are contending with that, right? Now you have to be able to have the conversation with your kids at an early age because once that stuff is indoctrinated and that stuff gets in, it's hard to go back once they start learning that stuff, right? You had there was a gay pride march in New York in 2023 where they literally told us they're coming after our kids. They said we are coming after your kids. LGBTQ. I mean, let's look at Black Lives Matter real quick if we want to be politically correct, right? Some of the leadership in Black Lives Matter were lesbian women, right? They utilized the struggle of black individuals to push a LGBTQ position, right? So their position, what they wanted to promote was LGBTQ, but they utilized the struggles that black people went through to be able to get on the. So it's basically like you're hopping on somebody's back, right? I've hopped on your back, and now because I've hopped on your back, I am taking the struggle that you had and I'm lifting myself up over the top of you. So I'm going to take the struggle that you had and I'm going to go over the top, right? Whereas, and they made gay pride and gay rights make seem like it was a black thing. And so people bought into it easily. That's another thing that's not biblical. That is part of the American culture. Let's talk about lack of respect for authority, defunding the police. Those are also biblical issues. God appoints all authority. All authority is appointed through Him, right? And respect for authority is something that's not being taught in households today, right? And so, again, rules. So what happened was you take men out the home, feminize the culture, and rules go out the door because rules is not a feminine thing. It's like women in their femininity. Rules, no, it's relationships. Masculinity, when it's masculine, even the church itself had a masculine anchor. Rules, there was rules involved, man. Now there's not rules involved, and when you don't have rules involved, it becomes relationship based, and so you get pastors that you had Micah Miller's husband, um, tortured her to her demise. You've got pastors that are involved with P. Diddy and his oil scheme that he has going on. You have pastors that you had one in Wisconsin recently that got arrested for sending nude pics or dropping nude pics from a fellow's phone that was of his wife to his phone. He got found out, he got arrested. So you have corruption. When there are no rules, that is a breeding ground for corruption. And I think people don't understand that. You get so relationship based that you don't understand that. There's a reason why God put rules in place. He put rules in place to keep us in place. And if we don't stay in place, it's hard for us to be able to get where we're trying to go. And so, part of this two-part series about a nation getting the leader they deserve, I'm going to take you to Proverbs 29:2. When good people are in charge, everyone is glad, but when the ruler is bad, everyone groans. Who you put in charge is a direct correlation of your values, what values that you have. And so we look at, as a Christian, for me, I voted Democratic for a long time. I voted for Barack Obama when he got in office. Um, he flew the LGBTQ flag. That's when I knew what it was. I said, "Oh no, I can't. I can't vote for that. I can't put my name behind it." Because when Jesus asked me at the end, when I walk up to him, he said, "Did you put your name behind the LGBTQ?" And I got to look him in the eyes. And I mean, are you going to tell him that you did or you didn't? Like, did you or did you not? Whatever it is that you vote for, you condone the actions of that party. If you vote for libertarians, then their actions are what you promote. If you vote for Republican, then those actions are what you promote. If you vote for Democrats, those actions are what you promote. So that's what you promote in your life. That's what you get behind. You put your name on it, then it's gonna stick, right? You sign, till deliver, bam, done. We have to understand that piece is important, right? That piece is extremely important. Another piece that's important that we have to understand that a corrupt culture will breed a corrupt leader. So if the culture itself is corrupt already, leadership from that comes from the culture. Because you have to understand, America is a culture. We have our own culture. So what our culture is breeds corrupt leaders. P Diddy just got arrested, and I mean it's gonna be some names coming out there, but I guarantee you there's gonna be some your big time pastors. TD Jakes to name one. His name will probably come out on that. That is somebody that's leading a church. And so a corrupt culture that we have in America today breeds corrupt leaders. corrupt church culture, Christianity being corrupt, also breeds corrupt leadership. And so we have to understand that prayer is needed in these days. We need to pray for our leadership. We need to pray because it is important. First Timothy 2 says people should pray for all people, including kings and those in high positions, so that they may lead a peaceful and quiet life. So there's a reason why we have to pray for, even if you don't like Kamala, you pray for her. Even though if you don't like Trump, you pray for him. Even if you don't like, I don't even know who else is running, them the main two names, or anybody else running, pray for them. Pray for your city government. Pray for your city council. Pray for your mayors. Pray for your first responders. Pray for police, fire, EMS. Pray for the people that God has put in these places that they may have a heart of gold for God, that they may do the right thing. Because our culture will change, right, when we pray and go to battle with the evils that have created the culture. And we have not done that. We are becoming Christians who sit on the sidelines and we just hope that things get better. We just sit back and just sit on our hands and say, please let things get better. Things will get better whenever we step up as Christians, do the job that God has called us to do, because God calls us to do something. We must do the job that God has called us to do. And that right there is the first step toward moving the culture needle into a better direction. But like I said, we will get the type of leader that our culture has created. The creation of the leader is based on the culture. So God is not going to put somebody glorified and great in place for a culture that's corrupt. He won't do that. That will be our karma because now we will have to live the life that we voted for. If you vote for things that you don't agree with, you're going to have to live a life fighting against the things that you don't agree with because you voted it in. Because you didn't put God's kingdom first. You put who I like, who says the things I like to hear, right? You may like how Trump speaks, you may like how Kamala speaks, but don't base it on how they speak, right? Don't base anything on how they speak, base it on what they stand behind. And so in episode 2, I'm going to dive deeper. I just want to go quickly and kind of give you guys an overview. But episode 2 of this, I'm going to go deeper. It's going to be longer because I'm going to go deeper into what the Bible says about corrupt leadership. Think Sodom and Gomorrah. Think about how bad it was. And think about what God did when things were at its worst. He is a loving, caring, just God, but he also don't play no games. And I think we forgot. I think we be praying to baby Jesus, hoping that Jesus, we rocking him. We forgot that Jesus became a man, right? He is a man. God is the king. And so he is not playing games. So we must not play games with the culture. And as Christians, we're supposed to be the ones that usher the culture in the right direction, but we become complacent with race. I want to vote for somebody that looks like me. We became complacent with race. I want to vote for somebody that talks like I talk. Oh, I talk like Trump, so I'm gonna vote for Trump because he talks like me. That dude just says whatever's on his mind, right? So we become a culture that we literally let whatever happen happen. And we let people deceive us into thinking that they're good when their fruits that they have shown are not good. Think about it like this. Was the economy good? Think about it like this. Was the culture good? Think about it like this. What's going on inside the inner city schools nowadays too? And think about what they stand for. I'm going to give you guys some things in episode 2 to tell you what these candidates stand for, what I've seen, and you take it. You can take it or leave it. It doesn't matter to me because at the end of the day, you got to answer for who you voted for. I don't. I don't have to answer for who you voted for. I have to answer for who I voted for, and I have to answer to the reasons behind why I did that. This is GT the Vibe podcast, though, guys. I will be back on episode 2, and we're going to be ready to rock. I'm out.